This is giving me anxiety.
Hello?
How do we know when we're being watched? How do we have that instinct? My will to survive is about as thin as that wall that I'm supposed to run through. But it was like such a weird experience to me in that moment. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of No Heckin Way Wednesday. It's the weekly show where we jump into conspiracy theories, creepypastas, the what ifs of the universe. And this week, we're looking into and we're exploring something called the Backrooms. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a picture. And I just want us to take a moment with this picture. And I want to just take it in, okay? Just take it in and see how it makes you feel. See if it does anything for you. If it reminds you of something, if you can relate to it. What seems just like a normal office space, ominous, very just cookie cutter. But what's crazy, and I don't know if you guys get the same sensation that I did when I first saw this, is like there's something very familiar about it. After seeing this photo, it went viral on the internet, and so many people had been like, I've been here before. I've been to something like it is insanely familiar to me. This is the spawn of the Backrooms. For those who don't know, the Backrooms is an urban legend, internet meme, and creepypasta that tells a tale of an endless maze of randomly generated office rooms. It is characterized by the smell of wet carpet, walls with monochromatic tone of yellow, and buzzing fluorescent lights. Although internet users have expanded upon this concept by creating different levels of the Backrooms, the original version came from a 2-paragraph 4chan comment on a post asking for unsettling images. The location is also characterized by entities, hostile beings created by internet users. I think this is going to take us through the Backrooms.
That every so often, something will happen that breaks the rules of reality. Planes hovering and doppelgangers are 2 examples of this, and surely most would be at least a little creeped out by experiencing these. But what happens when these glitches get more serious? What happens when you glitch out of reality completely? Well, if this happens to you, you may find yourself in a place where no man should ever go. A never-ending prison of rooms that exists outside our world that's now your new home. And if it sounds scary, maybe you'll take comfort in knowing that at least you won't be alone.
The Backrooms.
It is said that there are a few ways to wind up trapped in these backrooms. Some say that they can be accessed through your dreams or even seen in visions. Because of this, many claim to recognize the picture and even felt some sort of nostalgic fear. It's theorized that every object we interact with in this world is clipped to our reality. So for example, when you bump into a wall, you collide with it and you bounce off of it. But going back to glitches in our reality, it is said that on occasion, objects within our world will no-clip. This is something that happens often in video games, where a part of the map becomes no-clipped and you bump into it, you go right through it, and you sometimes end up falling right off the map, but in an endless void beneath the map.
We're gamers. We've all experienced
In the
this.
real world.
Like I've been in places. This is not the story that I was going to tell, but it actually was at a previous job in a factory where I had been working there for years. I knew the layout, I knew everything, and I was walking, and I must have taken like a wrong turn or something like that, but I knew where I was generally. And it opened up into like this big, massive part of the factory, and maybe I was just sleep deprived or something like that, but it was like I had gotten turned around and it spit me back out. It was weird.
The carpet that covers the level is moist and creates a persisting scent. In the beginning, the only sounds that can be heard is the consistent loud buzzing of the old fluorescent lights. Every room just leads to another and another. You start to wonder, how big of an area could this actually be? And how could this even be possible? Many will start to run and sprint through the rooms thinking that this might get them out of this maze faster. But it's no use. And after running around for seemingly an eternity, you'll finally realize that you're likely going to be stuck in here for a while. It's believed that not many will survive this first level, and that's for a few reasons. Either they lose the will to carry on, or they encounter something. While walking through these rooms, you may find yourself encountering humanoid creatures. After walking for hours,
that's when like YouTube goes too far, bro. Like people all the time want to set shit up. This is probably just some YouTube prank somewhere down the line. But I swear,
while walking through these rooms,
somebody comes try. Oh, haha, just a prank. It's fight or flight. And if I've been traveling through this maze of places and I don't know how to get out, I gotta fight. And if you are coming at me, bro, I'm kicking with the might of God. Okay, as hard as I can, I'm trying to punt you through the fucking ceiling. Hell no, dude.
After walking for hours,
I'm kicking you so hard.
Just imagine the horror of turning the corner and seeing something standing there. Something.
Ooh, Spooky Boy's back. We saw him on Reptilian Day.
These creatures are known as hounds, and they look like disfigured humans.
Hounds in the Backrooms?
On all fours. They make a low rumbling noise, which will serve as one of the only indications that you're near them before it's too late. Every so often, as you walk through these identical rooms, you'll find a wall that is slightly darker than the others. This is an indication that this too has been no-clipped, and it's possible that running into this wall will take you back to the world you knew before.
You're telling me in order? Oh no, it's about to be a risk versus reward thing? I don't trust myself enough for that.
And no clipping again in the Backrooms runs the risk of taking you further down to a spot that no one has ever seen before.
My will to survive is about as thin as that wall that I'm supposed to run through, okay? Catch me in any of these situations, bro. Just fucking off me. The first hound I see, taketh whatever you need from me.
It's unknown how the transition from level 0 to 1 takes place. Some believe that you stumble upon a door, a hallway, a staircase, or even an elevator, which takes you to this next level. After days of walking in a seemingly endless loop, you might actually welcome level 1, because at least it's something different. No longer is there a yellow wallpaper, but instead the walls are made of concrete. The floor on this level isn't the signature carpet of the one before it. Much like the walls, this too is concrete. A deep rumbling of machinery can be heard throughout this entire floor, as well as the creaking noises coming from unseen rooms. The lights are known to fail quite often. The lights will flicker at many spots and will often shut off completely and leave you in complete and total darkness. This is when the creatures on this level come out. You won't be able to see them, but you'll know when they're close. These creatures emit a disturbing, distorted, screaming sound as they drift through the darkness.
Bro,
if you hear them, quickly navigate to another room further away from the noises. And much like the level before, try not to look in the direction of these things. As you walk through level 1, the walls around you will begin to change. The vast rooms will become narrowed to the point where you're walking in long continuous hallways. The fluorescent lights are amplified to the point that the buzzing becomes even louder, and the heat from them causes the temperature to soar over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The hallways are claustrophobic and resemble service tunnels, as there is piping and machinery lining the walls. Pretty much any being you encounter on this floor is hostile, and your only chance of escaping, once you see a figure, is to run the opposite way, and don't look back. To many, this is considered to be the final level of the Backrooms. It's a fairly unexplored and mysterious place that features no real exit points. Your chances of ever escaping the Backrooms, in general, is incredibly low, but your chances of escaping level 2 is apparently nearly impossible. For the few that have supposedly survived this level, they did so by simply accepting the situation, remaining totally calm, and imagining the Backrooms as their home. That's your only chance of escape, and if it doesn't work, then your fate is pretty much sealed. And even after all the pain and the wear that you've gone through in levels 0 and 1, This is where your journey into the backrooms end. The very idea of the backrooms speaks to the very essence of the things that terrify us the most. The fear of being lost, the fear of being trapped, and the fear of being watched and hunted. Psychologically,
chased,
it
bro.
checks all the boxes for me. But it's also worth noting that there are still those who have claimed to have actually been there. There are few fates worse than finding yourself in the backrooms.
My story that video triggered for me, I don't think it was a convention, but it was an event. And we were staying at this hotel, and the way this hotel was structured, it had 2 elevators that you could walk to, and they went up each side, and both elevators led out to like a corner, and they led out to like 2 long hallways. I had a really shitty shift, and I was extremely tired, and I just got back to my hotel, and I go to my floor, and it was already confusing trying to get to my room in itself. I go up and I get to my hotel room. I try my key and it doesn't work. I walk back the way I came, and it felt like I was walking forever. I was like, there's no shot I walked this far. I must have gone the wrong way. And so instead of like continuing down that one path, I turn around and I start walking the other way. And I finally get to like this section near the elevators, but I recognize it's not the elevators that I came up at. It must have been the other elevators. And there was like a little vending machine. And I was like, dude, I'm like exhausted right now. I don't even know if I want to go deal with people downstairs, whatever. So whatever in me, whatever happened, I was like, I got a snack. And then I was like, let me just go try again. And so I swear I was walking for like 30 minutes in total, but I find my hotel room again. And I try it, and like this time, it just works. It just opens. And I was like, maybe it was the wrong room or something, but it was like such a weird experience to me in that moment to be like so disoriented in just a hotel room. Like I've navigated close to hundreds of hotels in my life, and to be so disoriented in that moment was like, dude, my bed was the most comforting thing. It was weird, dude. Have you ever dreamed of endless hallways, gotten lost on a school excursion, found a place where you're all alone yet still being watched? That explanation in itself is fucking horrifying, because I think all of us have at least had one of these experiences, right? Whether maybe not on a school excursion, but you've gotten lost somewhere, you've gotten disoriented, you've like been in a place or a situation where you just, humans in general are just so fascinating in like as far as our senses go. I'm sure you've been in a vehicle and you just feel someone watching you. You look over to the car next to you and you see another person staring back at you. Like, how do we know these things? How do we know when we're being watched? How do we have that instinct in us? It's weird. I wanted to read this story. There was actually a bunch of stories relating to the backrooms on our No Sleep. The 2 things that we're about to, 1, read and then 2, watch are fabrications inspired by the backrooms. It's late September. You remember these nights, humid, muggy, just a hint of the coming fall. Too cold for a t-shirt, but too warm for a sweater. These are the nights best spent at a Cook Place community mall in my modest Midwest hometown. A diamond in the rough in my eyes. This shopping center is a break from the monotony of tired hardware stores and family grocers that line Main Street. The Cook Place Mall is typically packed to capacity, but not tonight because it was 8:15 p.m. on a Tuesday night, 45 minutes until close. Not exactly prime window shopping hours. Despite that, my 3 friends and I were still going strong. We were ending the night in the dusty arcade located in the basement of the shopping mall. It was down a short flight of stairs between the Dairy Queen and Sbarro in the food court. Faded and flickering carnival lights lined the dimly lit hallways and steps. Andy, do you have another quarter? Philip, my youngest friend, questioned as the words "game over" splattered across the screen. Philip was 12 years old and a bit underdeveloped for his age. Andrew, his older brother, my best friend, and my biology partner scowled as he rummaged through his pockets in vain. Maybe if you were a bit better at the game, I'd have more quarters for you to play on. It was 8:16 p.m. and it seemed our time in the arcade may be coming to a close. I had a few loose quarters left in my pocket, but that was going to stay my secret. I was hoping to spend it on a Coke tomorrow before class started. Clay, a guy Andy and I had just met in biology, had clearly been waiting for this moment. Honestly, yeah guys, it's getting a bit late. I think I'm going to bounce. Got to study for our exam on cellular reproduction. The exam wasn't for a week, but I wasn't bothered. Clay had been acting a bit ambivalent. You're hanging out with a 12-year-old, don't use that language. We're not going to understand. Seemed like he wasn't a huge fan of having Philip around, cramped his style or whatever. I didn't care. Philip was pretty much like a brother to me, so he came first. Philip, having realized there would be nary a quarter for him, gave up aimlessly pressing buttons on the greasy machine. I have to go to the bathroom. Didn't you just go? Sighed Andy. Yeah, but we had a large soda. You had a large soda, kid. By the time I got a sip, it was all backwash. Blech. I chuckled as Andy and Philip started away from the arcade machines. Clay, while texting, followed lazily behind them. It was 8:24 and we had located the bathroom. The bathroom we were used to using in the mall on the way out of the front door was closed for renovations, so we had to find another one. An L-shaped hallway lit with yellow humming fluorescent lights ended with corresponding bathroom on either side of the hall, with custodial equipment blocking the women's entrance. Philip rushed into the restroom. The mall closed at 9 p.m., so we were going to need to get moving. Sure enough, as a thought crossed my mind, the ratty old mall intercom crackled to life with a ding-dong. An adolescent male's voice spoke sharply. Mall closing in 30 minutes. Mall closing in 30 minutes. I checked my watch. It was 8:26 p.m. Huh, someone's in a hurry to get out of here tonight. I thought, that's retail. Clay spoke up. I might just get going, you guys. I live pretty close to here. I'm just gonna walk instead of the bus. Good night. Night, Clay, we said in unison. He turned his back and walked away, turning right to depart the mall. Andy and I looked at one another. I don't know, kind of a wet blanket. He seemed really cool when I met him, Andy explained. Nah, he was okay, maybe just a bit quiet. The texting was a bit annoying though. Our attention was drawn to the sound of flush from the bathroom. Andy's face twisted into a mischievous grin. Hey, we should give Philip a little fright when he comes out. Remembering how jumpy Philip tended to be, I felt a pang of guilt. It really wasn't very nice to spook him, and we did it often. Nevertheless, I stood on the other side of the door, opposite Andy, waiting for Philip to step between us, not expecting a thing. The door swung open. Philip stepped out into the hallway, focused on drying his hands on his pants. He stepped by none the wiser. Screams. And then Philip fell into the wall. That's the only way I know how to describe it. One moment he had slipped off his feet and crashed into the wall. The next, everything but his legs had gone through the wall, as if there were a perfectly shaped hole in the concrete. Philip's legs spasmed in the air in the same looping spastic pattern, but for a few seconds. And then there was nothing left but solid concrete. What? Andy stuttered as he fell to his knees, his face a mixture of curiosity and confusion. As he shuffled towards the wall, his face turned to fear. I don't understand. I don't understand. Philip? He shouted his brother's name with a desperate, wavering cry. Philip! He slammed his hands into the wall. Once, twice, not a third time. Andy's head now protruded from the wall facing the ceiling. His head had seized from side to side as he continued to scream for his brother. God, he sounded like he was yelling through a box fan. I stepped backwards as my best friend disappeared from sight, and I was left with his scream bouncing off the hallway walls, intensifying as it mixed with the howl of the fluorescent. My back pressed against the bathroom door, and I jumped. I screamed as my world exploded with static, deafening and blinding me. The noise was unbearable, and the grain obscured everything, and all at once it stopped. I clutched my head in my hands, eyes squeezed shut. The static had dissipated, but what was replaced with the hum of fluorescent lights and the all too familiar yellow glow through my eyelids. But there was something new, a smell that hadn't been there before. The musty, wet smell of the carpet that should have been changed decades ago. The smell reminded me of the dilapidated bowling alley down the road from the mall. I opened my eyes. Before me was the bathroom hallway, as expected, lit by the same light as before. The bathroom doors were gone. There were no more doors, no more custodial equipment, just a smooth slab of concrete wall. I got to my feet and looked around me cautiously. It seemed I was in the mall still, but it was quiet. It felt different. The fluorescent hum buzz was too loud. My ears itch. I walked down the hallway in the direction of the food court. As I turned the corner, I was met with not the opening to the food court as expected, but by another abrupt 90-degree corner. turning to the left. Ding dong. I can't read ding dong in a serious voice anymore. I froze. The loudspeaker was engaged. The empty air of the speaker nearest me told me that, but the operator had nothing to say. After a motionless moment, what felt like hours, the microphone snapped back into the console, cutting the empty noise. Whomever had activated the speaker seemed to have hung up. Confused and growing ever more frightful of where I had found myself, I turned the corner. I was met with a large, empty room that I had never seen before. It was about the size of a classroom with stained concrete walls. The smell of must was even stronger in here. Each wall had an identical rectangular door-shaped opening that seemed to be placed at randomly decided positions among the wall. The popcorn ceiling, littered with smears of dirt and greasy imprints, had long cracks spanning it. This room was clearly in need of renovation. I don't understand, I muttered out loud. I truly didn't. This fearless room served no purpose other than a passageway to these other rooms. The lack of planning and absent attempt at caring for the room made me feel as if this place was long forgotten. Might as well try the next room, I thought to myself as I walked through the door to my left. The room I found myself in was bleak and unrecognizable as the last. From my first glance, the only difference in style was that this room was shaped as a triangle. I heard a single cry from my right. It was more of a whimper, actually. What the fuck? It was Clay's voice. It couldn't be Clay. I watched him leave the mall. I rushed through the door to find Clay lying in a fetal position in a long hallway, stretching a distance to my left and right. Change the channel. Change the channel, Clay babbled incoherently as he sobbed on the floor. Clay, you gotta get up. Clay didn't respond to me. He never would. His eyes wide and unblinking with fear were glued to the floor. How can fluorescent lights be so damn noisy? And then I saw it, and then I felt it. It hung motionless in the air, feet lightly scraping the ground. It had dry, cracked skin that was dressed loosely with torn, rough spun shorts. It had the torso of a man, but its torso was on the wrong way. Its frail and feeble arms outstretched to the ceiling, not quite reaching, as if in an act of surrender. It had a cocked head, as if confused, as it peered down the hallway at me. Dark, beady eyes stared widely at me through holes in the bloody duct tape wrapped around its head, and then it started to float towards us. Bro. Hey, dog. It's so cool to me that, like, a literal photo can spawn such creativity. Every time I blinked, stunned in absolute terror, it was not where I expected. A few feet forward, some inches to the left, never where it should be. And yet it was getting closer, ever closer. What I saw next will follow me forever. I turned to run, breaking the stillness and sprinted down the hallway. I don't know, I guess I just assumed Clay would follow in the moment. I was wrong. A blood-curdling screech shook the hallway, and I whipped around. It had reached Clay. He still wasn't looking, but he was certainly screaming. It extended its long, spindly arms and cradled him like a child. But it wouldn't look away from me. No, its eyes never left mine. In one quick jerking motion, it was holding Clay by the top of his head, palming him like a basketball. I blinked, and it had grasped Clay's arm with its free hand. With brute strength, it twisted Clay by the torso. Jesus. Clay's screaming cut short with a fleshy crunch as he dropped to the floor in a twisted pile. His eyes had finally opened to look at mine one last time. And then I screamed. The louder I screamed, the louder the fluorescent hum became. Which was louder, I couldn't tell. I turned and ran to the first door I saw, blindly twisting and turning through the rooms that followed. Why on earth does every room look the same? I turned a corner and ran face first into a dark mass. We both fell to the floor. Andy! How did you get down here? Where the hell are we? I don't know, Andy. Where's Philip? We have to get him right now and leave. We turned and rushed down a third hallway, perpendicular to the hallway Andy and I met in. We ran until we felt we couldn't run no more, and then fell into a final doorway. We landed in a mass on the damp floor, and quickly scuttled to the back wall. The hum of the lights was all we could hear, louder and louder, and then they all went out. Silence. We found ourselves in total darkness and total silence as we clutched each other. No, wait, not total silence. The sound of static, as if emitting from a television, slowly coming towards us. Only when the light coming from the source of the noise started to slowly illuminate the room did I realize this room only had one door. It floated around the door frame, toes dragging on the floor as it cast its bloody eyes upon us. Andy and I, muted with fear, stood against the wall. Andy moved himself in front of me. It floated towards us. Andy raised his arms. It reached out for us. Leave us alone. Ding dong. We all became statues. We locked eyes with it as we listened to the intercom crackle to life. Shallow, rapid breathing came through the speaker. Andy. It was Philip. With a guttural scream, Andy lunged towards it. It fell backwards into the wall, and I landed inside of a trash can. What? I was inside a trash can, filled with the refuse from a full day of food court disposal. Kid, what are you doing in there? I looked out to see a very confused elderly janitor, wondering why a young man was taking a Sparrow bath after mall hours. Why do they have to use the hardest to pronounce pizza shop in the planet Earth? It was 9:32 p.m. At least that's what the clock over the water fountain said. The water fountain? I'm back in the mall. Oh, sorry, I was just hungry, and I ran. In the following years, I would try to make sense of what happened back in that hallway. I even went so far as to returning there to try and access that place, but to no avail. I never found a thing, but I kept trying until they demolished them all a year later. Philip and Andy's parents weren't really present when they were around, so they didn't make much of a deal on TV when they were interviewed, despite the media trying to fire them up. They just seemed like it was the final straw to send them to total apathy. Last I heard, Clay's parents moved out of town, but were paying exorbitant PI bills to find their son. After a few years of half-assed detective work and a few rotations of milk cartons, Andy and Philip were forgotten about by our sleepy little town. But sometimes when I'm going to sleep, I remember, and I leave the TV on channel 3. There's nothing broadcasting on that channel, but the static helps me sleep. I love, dude. There was a point in my life when I worked at the factory where I was reading No Sleep every morning. Now, this is what I'm hoping is like a short film spawned from the Backrooms. Let's see what we're getting into.
Sound, camera,
Rolling.
all right, and action. All right, cut. That was good, guys. All right, that was good. I'm thinking we get a wide angle, and then we're done.
Got
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. It has everything to do with the Backrooms. Holy fuck.
Hello? Hello? Hey guys. What is this?
This is giving me anxiety.
Hello? Is someone there?
Y'all saw that, right? Saw that, right? Oh my fuck. Stop, bro. Don't hit me with no jump scares, bro. There's words. Oh, arrows. Direction. It's nice. Yo, bro, stop. Oh no.
You gotta be kidding me.
Oh no. Back on level 0. Oh my god, dude. I thought that was an animal, bro. I was like, oh fuck. It's probably not okay. Oh, fuck, dude. Hey, yo! Hey, yo! You need to... That's it? Oh my god. Wait. Okay. That was so good. That was such an incredible visual depiction of the Backrooms. For internal use only.
Welcome to the Project KV-31 Research and Development Team. Project KV-31 pertains to the study and development of the async low-proximity magnetic distortion system. For the sake of convenience, you may hear your peers refer to the project under any of the following titles: The Machine, The Door, The Backrooms, The Complex, Hallways. Touch the threshold without guided supervision. Never enter the complex alone. All expeditions are to be comprised of no fewer than 3 individuals.
I think this video is kind of like of taking the idea of like the government studying it. I more perceived it as the government creating it.
Guys, do you hear this? Hey guys, do you hear this? Hey! Guys. Guys? George?
Yeah, fucking horrified? Yeah, me too. So, what's crazy? Like this whole set, it doesn't look CGI'd, but I imagine it has to be, right? Because it does not look CGI'd at all. Like some elements, I guess, do if you're looking really closely. Like right now, I'm looking at the walls and stuff, and it seems a little CGI'd. But like, it looks really good, and I think that just might be the way they edited it to make it look like it was from the 90s. And when you get that grain on it, it looks much more realistic.
Hello? Hey!
So sick. I love the creativity. All spawned from a photo.
Friends would walk up to me and
Come
just be
on,
like,
bro.
"What's
I'm
this?"
sorry.
And I would just tell them, it's mud.
Oh, that was it. Okay. Dude, so good. That was so good. Such a good interpretation of the Backrooms. I love that, especially as someone who is definitely like more of a visual person. Having more to go off than just a picture is really beneficial for me. I think that's gonna sum it up though, chat. I think everything else is gonna be just repeats of what the Backroom we already discussed was. But how do you guys feel about it? Does anyone have any Backroom stories? Yeah, everything I'm looking at, even on the Wikipedia page, is kind of like a recap of everything we've already discussed anymore. But we discussed the Backrooms, and then we looked at 2 different stories of it. So I worked at a Spirit Halloween one year, and setting up the store in an old JCPenney, this whole theory just gives off the vibes of that. Most uneasy shit ever closing the store alone at night. I haven't experienced exactly what the Backrooms is said to be, but I've had experiences in my life that have made me very uncomfortable and give off a similar feeling. So maybe the Backrooms isn't a literal place, but more of a feeling. And that is scary. Because if that's the case, then I've absolutely been there. But back when I worked at the factory, there was moments where, like, I'm on night shift. My division of the factory was the only division that ran 24/7. And so everything else in the factory would be shut down. And when I would have downtime, I would go walk around because it was cool. It was cool to see, like, everything just kind of, like, so absent because it was constantly full of life and there was constant, like people working and stuff. And so, like, during the wee hours of the night in the morning, it was completely absent of everyone but the people I worked with. And there had been times, dude, where I'm sitting there and, like, I'll hear a machine that shouldn't be running or, like, parts clink on the floor or something, you know, and I'm like, that don't seem right. I think we're going to wrap up here. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of No Heckin Way Wednesday. I appreciate you all hanging out. I hope you all had a good time. As always, if you wanted to share some of your favorite conspiracy theories or what ifs of the universe, you can come to the Discord, discord.gg/BCG. Other than that, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Wednesday. And thanks for stopping by.